Hey everyone on YouTube, it's Mike from the Hardcover Comic here. I wanted to talk about a title that I tried. It's a DC title for one of my favorite characters, Big Blue, Superman, Clark Kent, faster than a speeding bullet, filled with hope, justice, and the American way. Like I said, one of my favorite characters, always a blast to read, always very positive and energetic and exciting. And this time I wanted to talk about Volume 1 of Brian Bendis' Superman. This is the Unity Saga Phantom Earth arc. This is following up on his Man of Steel run, which featured a new villain, which was Bendis's pretty much first take on Superman, his first storyline. Like I said, written by Brian Michael Bendis, artwork by Ivan Reis, an incredible artist. I'm, very excited by the penciling work, and in my opinion, in general, Brian Michael Bendis has been a writer that I'm on the fence with. Sometimes I'll love what he does, like Daredevil and Powers. I really enjoyed Powers, and then I'll be a little let down by some of his other titles. The X-Men stuff he did, a lot of the Avengers stuff he did was not up to par for me. But I decided I would give his Superman a try and put all my biases aside, and it starts off gorgeous artwork by Ivan Reis, a lot of two-page spreads like this one here. You start off getting a little background on what happened in Man of Steel, a little refresher. Ragal Zaar, who was the new character that was introduced, was it was turns out that he was the one who destroyed Krypton. It wasn't the use of the natural resources. And we get to it just refreshes us on all of that, right? We'll get through that as we go. John and Lois Lane have went with Clark's father, Jor-El, to sort of explore the cosmos. And, because Jor-El thought Clark was not doing a good enough job. And so Kal-El is by himself now. He's at home. He's reminiscing about things that have happened. He's trying to find his way. There are some interesting things happening. So in Man of Steel, the Fortress of Solitude was destroyed. This bottle city of Kandor was destroyed. And so, Superman is now rebuilding. He's decided he's going to rebuild his Fortress of Solitude in the Bermuda Triangle. Kind of a cool idea. It looks a lot more epic. And yeah, I mean, it's tough. I have a bias towards Superman. My ideal Superman, my favorite story is All Star Superman. That's how I like my Superman. But I'm always I go into things with an open mind, and so I went into this run with an open mind, and I just sort of went with the flow. Destroying the bottle city of Kandor, um, changing Krypton, the origin of the story behind Krypton's destruction, relocating the Fortress of Solitude. It all felt like right away for me. I'm like, oh, Bendis is trying to put his mark on Superman. This is what he's doing. All right, let's keep moving. But we start seeing really weird characterizations that I wasn't necessarily a fan of, and it's a big problem that I have with Bendis. I like it when he writes a solo character and new characters that he's introducing, but you get these weird interactions. I thought they were weird anyway, where like Martian Manhunter's telling Superman to basically take over the world. He's, oh, I didn't mean take over. I didn't mean, but you should. You can help lead everyone to this galactic community. I was like, okay. I mean, I guess I could see Jean saying that stuff, but just the toning and the way the phrases were lined out, it didn't seem like the way Jean's talks. He's very punctual, very factual. Um, what Bendis then does is he move. Ragal Zaar is the main villain of this storyline, and he's in the Phantom Zone, and somehow, some way, the entire population and the planet Earth disappear into the Phantom Zone. So that's basically what we're dealing with here. That's the big problem of the story arc. We get these weird sort of flashbacks to the past. They show these Tamaranians going to war with the Thanagarians, but they're being led by Ragal Zaar. It's like 5 pages of your 3.99 comic book for this weird flashback where the artwork is stunning, but it's just like, this is just to show a show of force for Ragal Zaar? I mean, we've already seen he's as strong as Doomsday, if not stronger, because he's intelligent. He's got a brain as well that he can use to strategize. We start finding out that certain people on the planet Earth are getting sick from this whole Phantom Zone transition, which made me think like, and Bendis does answer this, like, do people eat and drink water? Do they need to sustain themselves in the Phantom Zone? I used to think they didn't have to, but this whole story arc makes me think otherwise. Because everyone's power levels are dropping. Batman's sick, the Flash is sick. So it was kind of weird. But we see Ragal Zaar sort of come up as the main villain of the storyline. He's very upset that this all this stuff happened on Earth in the Man of Steel arc, and obviously he wants revenge on Superman. He wants to take down planet Earth to show him how mad he is. And and he runs across. He comes into contact with another character from Krypton, who's this guy named Jax and he's not a fan of the L family, and he's in the Phantom Zone for a reason, right? I mean, they sent their worst criminals there, and so they basically start talking to each other, and they form an alliance of sorts, and they decide they're going to attack this Earth, and Superman comes to the defense. So at this point, I think we're like 3 issues in. The artwork again, I'll keep saying it, is stunning. It's the high point of the book, in all honesty. The plot is very simple. It's a widescreen action movie, and that's kind of pretty much what it is. It felt more like an action comic storyline for the majority of the series. Instead of a Superman storyline, which sort of gets a little more personal, I found, especially after what Peter J. Tomasi did with Patrick Gleason. And we get this epic battle. Kal-El is fighting Ragal Zaar, and we start we start getting these flashbacks to John as well, which is when I started getting into it a little more. You have these moments where Clark is talking to John, and it's John when he's still young, and they're getting to converse and talk about why Superman holds back as much as he does and what the responsibility behind that position is. And then basically Superman and Jax-Ur get to talking, and he says, hey, you're being manipulated. He destroyed Krypton. Why would you help someone who betrayed our own world? And Jax-Ur says, you're lying, and Superman says, but I don't do that. Again, some weird characterization. It's a different version of Superman, which I'm fine with. It is what it is. I'm more so interested in the storyline and what's happening and how Superman's character is used to push that storyline forward and to push his character forward in Brian Michael Bendis' arc. I'm hoping there's some evolution there. What's really cool is in I think issue 4 or 5 we start getting to see Zod, and of course General Zod is a big enemy of Superman's, but he's having this vision where where everyone's connected on Krypton, and his son comes and says, hey, Dad, Earth has disappeared. It's vanished. Of course, Zod and his family are, they're hiding away. They're sort of trying to rebuild their lives. And Zod shows up to where Earth used to be. And there are these pretty humorous moments with Adam Strange where he's there and Earth is gone and he's trying to report a missing planet. And Zod basically says, where did they go? I need to get to a Phantom Zone projector now. I need to be beamed there. And so they basically start trying to push towards that. He moves to Star Labs, where all of this originated from, where the Atom and the Blue Beetles are trying to figure out a way to resolve this issue and to bring Earth back from the Phantom Zone. The Flash is helping as well. Batman is sick. He's MIA. And we do get some decent characterization from Bendis. I was getting a little frustrated with these 2 pages because you see Superman really losing his cool, which is, again, not my all-star Superman. And he starts getting upset that, why can't I resolve this? Why can't I figure this out? Why does it always come down to fighting? How come I can't? I've let myself down so much. You see him really start to break down and get angry, and then of course Ma and Pa Kent come in, cool him down, and tell him, hey, keep your, you got to keep your head up. You got to keep pushing. You got to be better than everyone else because you are. And it's great. It's a great moment. It was a really, really well done moment, I thought. Of course, beautifully illustrated. The heat from the laser eyes showing up. It was good, and that's overall my feeling of the storyline. The last couple issues of the arc, I think that this is issue 6. This artwork is this sort of huge battle montage where you get these beautiful, stunning 2-page spreads by Ivan Reis with a little too much narration for me. It was just the same thing being narrated over and over again over like 10 pages. So that was a little frustrating, but that's just, Bendis trying to fill in space. And really the most frustrating part was that the arc just came to an end. There's no resolution. Zod and Superman fighting Zaar it was just a tie. And then they pulled Superman out, and that was it. He didn't go back into the Phantom Zone. We do get a pretty cool cliffhanger at the end of it. I guess I won't give it away, but I'll be doing a volume 2 review soon, so it'll be in there. Overall, my thoughts on the story arc was good. It was good. It was probably the most enjoyable Bendis thing I've read in a long time. And I'll keep giving it a shot. I'll keep reading it to see how if Bendis develops this character of Superman, this version of him that he started. And the artwork was beautiful. It's probably some of the best artwork in comic books right now. And overall, I mean, I enjoyed it. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd give it a 7. It's just in that sort of average area, nothing too exciting. I wouldn't, run and tell your friends and family about it, but who knows? It might get to that point, right? With later issues, we'll see. But overall, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna move towards reading some more Bendis again, keeping up with his Superman. I will check out Action Comics as well. I'll do a Volume 1 review of that. Um, like I said, there's not too much that happens in this storyline. It's a great action story with some cool character personalization for Superman himself. I thought there was a bit of a disconnect with how Bendis writes the other characters within the Justice League and the DC universe. His Flash is good. His Ray Palmer is great. His Beatles are pretty solid, although he doesn't write them too much. So we'll see where it goes. I'm optimistic, as Superman always is, and yeah, I'm looking forward to more, I guess. 7 out of 10 for me. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Let me know what you thought of Superman by Brian Michael Bendis, the first volume. Let me know what you think of the issues that follow afterwards. I know the cliffhanger didn't make too many people happy. I'll see where it goes. I really liked what was happening earlier, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll talk more in the next volume. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This was Mike from the Hardcover Comic talking about Superman Volume 1 by Brian Michael Bendis and Ivan Reis. Until next time, you stay classy, Internet.